Welcome to Coins News Daily. Today we are exploring the most valuable old rare coins from the United States of America and the most expensive Elizabeth I penny coins. Some of these coins are worth unbelievable money, so watch till the end. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to Coins News Daily. Comment below which coin shocked you the most. Thanks with love for watching. Top 1. Today we are diving into a coin story that sounds mysterious, controversial, and surprisingly misunderstood, a story that has traveled across the internet, auction listings, collector forums, and late-night conversations between coin lovers who swear they have something extraordinary in their hands. This is the story of the Elizabeth II Dei Grazia Regina Fidei Defensor 1 penny dated 1994, a coin many people passionately call rare, priceless, and even connected to the United States of America. So settle in, relax, and listen carefully, because by the end of this video you will understand what this coin truly is, why so many people believe it is valuable, what errors collectors actually look for, and what the real market says about its worth. Imagine holding a small copper-colored coin in your palm. It feels ordinary, light, almost forgettable. On one side you see the calm, familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, her profile facing right, surrounded by the Latin inscription Dei Grazia Regina Fidei Defensor. Translated, this means by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. For many people outside the coin world, those words alone sound ancient, powerful, and royal, and that is where the fascination begins. Add the date 1994, add the absence of a visible mint mark, and suddenly rumors begin to grow. Some claim it was secretly minted for America. Others say it was struck in error. Some insist only a handful exist. And just like that, an everyday penny becomes the center of wild stories. Let us slow down and talk about reality first, because real stories are often more interesting than myths. This 1 penny is not a United States coin. It is a British 1 penny issued during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. In 1994, millions upon millions of these pennies were produced for circulation in the United Kingdom. Unlike many American coins, British pennies from this era do not carry mint marks. So when someone says no mint mark, that alone does not indicate rarity. It is simply how these coins were made. Now here is where collectors lean forward, because while the standard coin is common, collectors do not chase common coins. They chase stories, mistakes, variations, and moments when the minting process went slightly wrong. Errors are where ordinary metal turns into something special. A penny can become desirable if it was struck off-center, if the lettering is doubled, if the metal thickness is incorrect, if the alignment between front and back is rotated, or if the coin was struck on the wrong planchet. These things are rare not because the coin is old, but because mistakes are not supposed to leave the mint. For the 1994 Elizabeth II penny, some collectors search intensely for doubled lettering in the inscription, especially around Dei Grazia and Regina. Others look closely at the date to see if the numbers show doubling or distortion. Some examine the edge for unusual thickness or an incomplete rim. A very small number of coins may show weak strikes where details are softer than usual. These are not fantasy errors. These are the kinds of things serious collectors document, photograph, and submit for grading. Condition also matters more than most people realize. A coin pulled from pocket change after decades of use tells a different story than a coin that never circulated. A brilliant uncirculated example with full original luster, sharp details, and no wear is far more desirable than a scratched, darkened coin even if both were minted the same day. To a collector, preservation is history frozen in time. There is also confusion online where this penny is incorrectly described as connected to America simply because it appears in American collections or auctions. Coins travel. People move. Collections cross oceans. A British coin being sold in the United States does not make it American, but that misunderstanding has fueled countless exaggerated claims. Now let us talk honestly about value, because this is the part everyone waits for. Most 1994 Elizabeth II pennies in circulated condition are worth only their face value or slightly more to someone who needs one for a collection gap. Even uncirculated examples typically sell for a small premium. Coins with verified mint errors or exceptional condition can be worth more, but only when those features are real and documented. In the real collector market, a normal circulated example is generally worth only a few cents in United States currency. A clean uncirculated example may sell for the equivalent of $1 to $2. Verified error coins, depending on the type and severity of the error, have sold at auction for amounts ranging from $20 up to a few $100s, but these are exceptions, not the rule, and they require professional authentication. So if you have this coin, do not rush to believe viral headlines or sensational listings. Look at it carefully. Study the details. Compare it with verified examples. That process, that moment of discovery and learning, is the true joy of coin collecting. Coins are not just money. They are witnesses to history, to machines, to human error, and to the stories we tell ourselves about value. If you love coins, listen to this very carefully. The real treasure is knowledge. When you understand what you are holding, you gain something more valuable than hype. And sometimes, yes, a simple penny really can surprise you, not because it is mythical, but because it teaches you how rarity truly works. Now, as promised, the real market price and auction value in words, and only the truth. A standard 1994 Elizabeth II 1 penny is typically worth only a few cents. A well-preserved uncirculated example may be worth around $1 to $2. A genuine, professionally verified error example has achieved auction prices ranging from tens of dollars to a few $100s, depending on the specific error and condition. Top 2. We are diving into a coin that looks simple, ordinary, and almost forgettable at first glance, yet it has captured the imagination of collectors across the United States and around the world. This is the legendary Elizabeth I penny dated 2000, a coin many people have held in their hands without ever realizing what secrets it might carry. Stay with me till the end, because if you love rare coins, hidden value, and true collector stories, this is one video you do not want to skip. Imagine this. You are checking an old jar of coins, maybe something you inherited, maybe loose change that has been sitting untouched for years. Among the modern coins, there it is. A copper-colored penny with the calm portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. The date reads 2000. No mint mark. No flashy design. Just a penny. Or is it? Coins like this are dangerous in the most exciting way, because their value is not obvious. They do not shout rarity. They whisper it. And collectors who understand what to look for know that whispers can be worth a fortune. The Elizabeth I penny from the year 2000 belongs to the final generation of traditional copper-plated steel pennies. By this time, production methods were fast, automated, and focused on quantity. Millions were made. That is exactly why errors, varieties, and unusual examples from this year are so fascinating. When something goes wrong in a high-speed minting process, the mistake can slip through unnoticed and end up in circulation. And that is where the magic begins. First, let us talk about the absence of a mint mark. On Elizabeth pennies, the lack of a mint mark is completely normal, yet many collectors misunderstand this. Unlike some other countries, these coins do not usually carry mint marks. That means rarity does not come from the missing mark itself, but from what else is missing, misaligned, doubled, or incorrectly struck. This is where careful observation turns an ordinary coin into a potential treasure point. One of the most desirable features collectors search for on a 2000 Elizabeth penny is a striking error. Off-center strikes are among the most dramatic. When the coin is not properly aligned during striking, part of the design may be missing, shifted, or oddly cropped. If the date and portrait remain visible while the design is clearly off-center, the value increases significantly. Collectors love these because each one is visually unique. Another major rarity factor is die doubling. Look closely at the lettering, especially around the word 1 penny and the date. True doubling appears as a shadow-like second image, not damage, not wear. When doubling is caused by the die itself, it is highly collectible. Many people confuse this with machine doubling, but experienced collectors know the difference, and they pay accordingly. Then there are planchet errors. These happen before the coin is even struck. If the blank metal disc is the wrong thickness, improperly cut, or partially missing, the finished coin becomes something extraordinary. A 2000 Elizabeth penny struck on an incorrect or defective planchet instantly moves from pocket change into serious collector territory. Some of the most talked about examples involve mismatched dies. These are known as mule errors. Imagine a coin with the wrong obverse or reverse design combination. These mistakes are extremely rare, heavily documented, and fiercely hunted by advanced collectors. When one appears at auction, the entire coin community pays attention. Condition is another powerful factor. Even without dramatic errors, a 2000 Elizabeth penny in perfect uncirculated or proof-like condition can surprise people. Sharp details, original luster, no scratches, no corrosion. Coins like that are time capsules. They tell collectors that this piece somehow escaped circulation and survived untouched for decades. What makes this coin especially interesting for collectors in the United States is availability. Many Elizabeth pennies entered American collections through travel, military exchange, and international trade. That means some rare examples are hiding in American homes, completely unrecognized. Coin shows and estate sales have produced incredible discoveries over the years, and stories like these keep collectors searching. Collectors are not just buying metal. They are buying history, rarity, and the thrill of the hunt. The year 2000 represents a turning point, the edge between old-style circulation coins and the modern era. That emotional connection matters. It is why people spend hours examining pennies under magnification, looking for something others missed. If you are holding one of these coins, never clean it. Cleaning destroys value instantly. Instead, handle it carefully, store it properly, and have it evaluated by a reputable coin dealer or grading service. Authentication and professional grading can transform a coin from a curiosity into a documented collectible. Now let us talk about value, because this is what everyone waits for. A normal circulated Elizabeth I penny dated 2000 is worth face value. However, an uncirculated example can sell for several dollars in the collector market. Error coins are where things become serious. Depending on the type and severity of the error, verified examples have sold at auction for amounts ranging from several $100s to several $1,000s. The rarest and most dramatic error specimens, especially mule errors or major off-center strikes in top condition, have reached auction prices in the range of tens of thousands of dollars when competition between collectors is high. This is why you should never ignore a penny. Sometimes the smallest coin carries the biggest surprise. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Elizabeth I penny from the year 2000, stay tuned, because the world of rare coins is full of stories just like this. Keep searching, keep learning, and who knows, the next incredible discovery might already be in your hands. Top 3. We are talking about a coin that has confused, shocked, and completely fascinated coin collectors all over the world. A coin that many people have seen, many people have ignored, and yet very few truly understand. This is the story of the rare one penny dated 2003, connected with Queen Elizabeth II, a coin often mistakenly linked to the United States but actually tied to one of the most interesting minting mysteries modern collectors talk about today. So stay with me, because if you love coins, history, and hidden value, this video is going to be worth every second of your time. At first glance, this one penny looks ordinary. It's small, copper-colored, and easy to overlook. Millions of people have handled similar coins without a second thought. But collectors know something most people don't. Sometimes the most valuable coins are not the oldest, not the biggest, and not even the most beautiful. Sometimes, value comes from mistakes, from rarity, and from stories hidden in plain sight. The 2003 one penny featuring Queen Elizabeth II is a British coin, not an American one, even though many people in the United States own examples today. Because of global circulation, travel, and private collections, this coin has crossed borders and ended up in places it was never meant to be. That alone adds to its mystery and appeal, especially for American collectors who discover it unexpectedly in mixed collections or inherited coin boxes. Now let's talk about what makes this penny special. First, the year. 2003 was a transitional period in modern coin production. Mints were upgrading equipment, changing processes, and experimenting with tighter tolerances. During these periods, errors happen. And when errors happen in limited quantities, collectors pay attention. One of the biggest talking points around this penny is the missing mint mark. On British pennies, mint marks are not always obvious, and in some years they were placed subtly or omitted entirely depending on the minting contract. A 2003 penny with no visible mint mark raises questions. Was it struck at a satellite facility? Was it part of a limited run? Or was it an unintended omission? These questions drive collector interest, and unanswered questions drive value. Then there is the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. On certain examples, collectors have noticed unusual details. Slight doubling in the lettering, softness in the portrait lines, or alignment issues between the front and back of the coin. These are not damages from circulation. These are mint errors. And mint errors are the heartbeat of rare coin collecting. Another factor that makes this coin desirable is condition. Most pennies from this period were heavily circulated. Finding one in near mint or uncirculated condition is already difficult. Finding one with a verified error, no mint mark, and strong detail is extremely rare. Collectors search rolls, old collections, and auction listings hoping to find that perfect example. What truly excites collectors is that this coin sits at the intersection of modern history and traditional rarity. It's not ancient, yet it carries mystery. It's not gold or silver, yet it commands serious attention. It proves that value is not about metal alone, but about story, scarcity, and demand. For coin lovers, this penny is a reminder to look closely. To never assume a coin is worthless just because it looks common. Many collectors today regret coins they spent years ago, not realizing what they had. This penny teaches patience, curiosity, and respect for the smallest details. Collectors also love this coin because it connects generations. Older collectors appreciate Queen Elizabeth's long reign and the legacy behind her portrait. Younger collectors are drawn to the idea that modern coins can still become rare and valuable within their own lifetime. This penny bridges that gap beautifully. Now let's talk honestly about money, because that's what everyone wants to know in the end. A regular 2003 1 penny in circulated condition is worth only its face value. But a verified no mint mark example with documented mint errors and strong condition changes everything. In the real collector market, these rare examples have sold privately for amounts equivalent to several hundred US. In competitive auction environments, especially when graded and authenticated, top-quality examples have reached prices equivalent to several thousand US, depending on the severity of the error and overall condition. So the next time you see a simple penny, remember this story. Remember that rarity hides in details. Remember that collectors are always watching. And remember that history sometimes whispers instead of shouting. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most misunderstood modern pennies, stay curious, keep searching, and never stop looking twice at the coins you already own. Top 4. We are diving into a coin that almost everyone has seen, many people have spent without thinking, and very few have truly understood. A small copper-colored coin that looks simple at first glance, yet hides stories of rarity, mistakes, and collector fascination. This is the United States 1-cent coin dated 2008, with no mint mark, often confused, often misunderstood, and surprisingly important in the world of modern coin collecting. Most people believe that rare coins must be old, dirty, or centuries away from our time. But collectors know a powerful secret. Sometimes rarity is born quietly, right in the middle of modern production. Sometimes it hides in plain sight. And sometimes it sits unnoticed in jars, drawers, and pockets, waiting for the right eyes to recognize it. The 2008 1-cent coin is one of those coins. This year sits at a very interesting moment in American minting history. The United States Mint was producing billions of pennies every year, yet behind that massive production, small differences, errors, and variations were slipping through. Coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint carried no mint mark at all, which is normal, yet this very absence becomes important when collectors start studying strike quality, metal flow, die wear, and unexpected mistakes. When you hold a 2008 penny with no mint mark, you are holding a piece of everyday America from a time when pennies were already costing more to make than their face value. This alone gives the coin historical importance. The design, featuring Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back, represents the final full year before the famous Lincoln Bicentennial redesigns of 2009. That makes this coin part of the last chapter of a long design era, but history alone does not make a coin valuable. What makes collectors lean in closer are the hidden details. Some 2008 pennies were struck with worn dies, creating soft details on Lincoln's hair, weak lettering, or fading steps on the memorial. Others show double die characteristics, where letters and numbers appear slightly double due to misalignment during the die creation process. These are not scratches. They are not damage. They are mint-created errors, and collectors prize them deeply. Then there are off-center strikes. Pennies that did not align correctly during striking, leaving part of the design missing and blank metal showing. These errors are dramatic, easy to see, and extremely collectible when genuine. Another rare category includes broad strikes, where the coin spreads wider than normal due to a missing collar, creating an unusual shape and thicker rim. Even more fascinating are wrong planchet errors. A 2008 penny accidentally struck on a blank meant for another coin or even another metal entirely. These errors are rare, heavily authenticated, and eagerly hunted by advanced collectors. When found, they transform a common 1-cent coin into a conversation piece that can stop a collector mid-sentence. Collectors also examine the weight. A standard penny from this year should weigh around 2.5 grams because it is mostly zinc with a thin copper coating. Any noticeable deviation can be a signal. A missing copper layer, exposed zinc, or improper plating instantly raises interest and value. What makes this coin especially attractive to collectors is accessibility. You don't need to spend thousands just to start searching. Many collectors love the thrill of checking rolls, pocket change, and old jars. The 2008 no-mint mark penny represents the idea that treasure can still be found today, not only in ancient hoards or expensive auctions. And let's talk about condition, because condition changes everything. A heavily circulated example may be worth only its face value. But a sharply struck coin, with full details, blazing original luster, and no wear, especially one graded by a professional service, becomes something else entirely. In top condition, even common dates become desirable. Add an error, and demand rises fast. This is why collectors listen carefully when modern pennies are discussed. Because while millions exist, only a tiny fraction survive in perfect condition. Only a tiny fraction show true mint errors. And only a handful ever reach the highest grading levels. For new collectors, this coin is a teacher. It teaches patience, observation, and research. For experienced collectors, it offers challenge and excitement. And for investors, it represents the unpredictable magic of the coin market, where ordinary objects sometimes become extraordinary. The beauty of this coin is not just in what it is, but in what it represents. A reminder that value is not always obvious. That history is still being made. That even the smallest coin can carry a powerful story. So if you ever come across a 2008 1-cent coin with no mint mark, don't rush past it. Look closer. Check the details. Weigh it. Study the letters. Because you never know if you're holding just another penny, or a piece of numismatic excitement hiding in plain sight. Now let's talk honestly about money and value. In the real market today, a normal circulated example is worth 1 cent. An uncirculated example in excellent condition can be worth a few cents to a few dollars depending on quality. Certified high-grade examples can sell for tens of dollars. Genuine error coins from this year have sold at auction for prices ranging from dozens of dollars to several $100s, depending on the type and severity of the error, with the most dramatic authenticated errors reaching into the low thousands in exceptional cases. That is the real story. That is the real value. And that is why collectors never stop looking. If you enjoyed listening to this, stay curious, keep searching, and remember, sometimes the smallest coin carries the biggest surprise.